Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So we will be starting with the next generic core subject, which is organizational behavior. So before we start, just a confirmation I require from your side. Have you received mail regarding your ebooks and regarding your syllabus? Just confirm.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, thank you. So we have shared the ebooks of subject specialization wise, subject wise. We have shared the ebooks. You can save those ebooks and you can take the reference of those ebooks when you will be preparing for your examinations. Second thing, we have shared the syllabus also. Again, you can save the syllabus copy and you can take the help of that copy whenever required. Yes, so we will now start with organizational behavior. So it's a generic core subject, or now it is called as course instead of subject. Earlier, these were called as subjects. Now the nomenclature has changed. Now subjects are called as courses or course. So instead of calling organizational behavior a subject, now the nomenclature is it is organizational behavior course. And MBA in all, instead of course, it will be now called as program. So MBA in all will be a program, and the subjects which you will be studying in 2 years, in 4 semesters, will be now called as courses under that MBA program. Now, during 28th lecture of our director, sir, he has clearly mentioned you that now we are following CBCS pattern, that is choice based credit system, and above that now this system is further refined as OBE, that is outcome based education. So now you will be not given marks, but you will be given credits. And now the syllabus is OBE. OBE stands for outcome based education. So the principle behind OBE is very simple. Our earlier syllabus was based on theory, but now instead of only theory, now the syllabus is based on theory plus its application in industry. So both things now we will be studying. Earlier only theory was covered, now theory plus application. Earlier it was expected that the student should read the concepts thoroughly and reproduce those concepts at the time of examination if he or she wants more marks in the examination. The application part of those theories or those concepts was ignored. But in the year 2019, the university has made drastic changes in the syllabus and they have changed the syllabus to OBE, that is outcome based education. Now, when the syllabus is designed, it is clearly mentioned in the syllabus itself that what are the objectives of designing that particular syllabus, or what will be the course outcome. That is, if you read that syllabus, read that particular subject or particular course, what a student should learn, what a student should gain. So in advance, it is written in the syllabus. So we will see to it that all the objectives, all the outcomes of a particular course are met at the end of the syllabus. So when we will be ending our sessions of organizational behavior, we should see to it that all the outcomes which is mentioned in the syllabus of organizational behavior are met clearly, are met 100%. So before directly going to the subject or course syllabus, we will just see what are the objectives of designing this particular subject. What the university intends that the student should learn after going through this organizational behavior syllabus. Now, 6 key points are there. First one is remembering, then understanding, then applying, then analyzing, then evaluating, and then creating. Now, these three parameters, now remembering, under remembering, it is expected that the student should be able to describe major theories, concepts, terms, models, framework, and research finding in the field of organizational behavior. So that should be remembered by a student. Now here in organizational behavior, we will be studying various theories like theory of Maslow, that is also called as need hierarchy theory. Then Herzberg's two-factor theory we will be studying. Then William Uchi's theory, Z theory we will be studying. Then five-factor theory we will be studying. Myers-Briggs theory we will be studying. So what is expected in the syllabus that a student should remember these theories and he should be in a position to apply these theories in real industry environment. So when after 1 year or after 2 years, when you will be joining the organization as assistant managers or as executives or as officers, you should be able to apply these theories in real business world. That is what expected. So remembering, we all know the meaning of remembering. So a student should remember major theories of organizational behavior, key findings of various research that have been done in the field of organizational behavior. So these things you should remember. Why you should remember, that is also mentioned in the syllabus, because you should be able to apply these theories when you will be actually working in the organizational environment. So this is the meaning of remembering. So certain things you should remember always. Now the next parameter is called as understanding. First, what you should understand, that is also again already included, already mentioned in the syllabus. That is, explain the implication of organizational behavior from the perspective of employees, managers, leaders, and the organization. So you should understand and explain the implications of organizational behavior. Implication of organizational behavior means that the knowledge of organizational behavior in a manager can play a vital role in changing the employees of the organization. If you have studied the behavior of the employee, if you know the psychology behind that particular behavior of a particular employee, then you will be in a better position to guide that employee properly. So that you should be understanding the implications of organizational behavior. Next one is apply or applying. Now, under applying, make use of theories, models, principles, and frameworks of organizational behavior in specific organizational settings. So, the theories or the principles or the models which we will be discussing while going through this syllabus of organizational behavior, you should be at the end of the syllabus, you should be able to apply these theory in the industry. That is expected under applying. Next one is analyzing. Now, under analyzing, deconstruct the role of individual, group, manager, and leaders in influencing how people behave in influencing organizational culture at large. So you should be able to analyze. Analyze what? Individual behavior. Analyze group behavior. Analyze the behavior of a leader. Analyze the behavior of a manager. So these things you should be able to analyze is expected at the end of the syllabus. Next one is evaluate. Under evaluating, formulate approaches of reoriented individual, team, managerial, and leadership behavior in order to achieve organizational goals. So what approaches are required? What
बोलणारी पाहिजे बोलणारी पाहिजे
I think someone has unmuted his or his mic. So please mute your mic. Okay, thank you. So evaluating. Under evaluating, formulate the approaches to reorient individual, team, managerial, and leadership behavior in order to achieve organizational goals. Reorient team means already there is team, already there are groups, already there are individual employees who are working in the organization. Now, every organization is concentrating on what? Everyone is concentrating on ROI. ROI is nothing but return on investment. When an employee is recruited in the organization is making investment in recruiting that particular person. Then the organization is investing money, time, resources in training that particular person. So when such a huge investment the organization is making, when it is recruiting a single person, then what are the expectation of the organization? They are very simple. If we are investing 1 lakh rupees, we want more in return from that particular individual employee, from that particular team of employees, from that particular group of employees, and that is called as return on investment. Everywhere the thing is very simple, very clear, and these are the expectation of all the organization. Whether we are talking about a new startup organization, or we are talking about a medium scale organization, large scale organization, or a multinational organization. Everywhere the scenario is same, the situation is same, the expectations are also same, and the expectation of all the organization is or are what? That they want more and more in return of their investment that is made on the individual employee or group of employees. So that we will be discussing when we will be evaluating certain concepts. Last one is creating. Under creating, it elaborates upon the challenges in shaping organizational behavior, organizational culture, and organizational change. Creating, the meaning is very simple. Everyone is aware of what is the meaning of creating. Creating is to create. Create what? create a culture in the organization, create an environment in the organization where people love to work, where people enjoy their work. Because if people are happy with their work, they love their work, if they enjoy their work, there have been various researches conducted on these particular topics. And every research, the conclusion of each and every research is what? If the people are enjoying their work, if the people love their work, the end result will definitely be beneficial for the organization as well as beneficial for the individual employee. So, in creating, what is expected is that when a student will be joining a organization, that student should be able to design such a program, such a culture, which, if implemented in the organization, will definitely help the organization in making the employees enjoy their work, love their work, because that will result in benefits for both, for the organization as well as for the employee. If profits are increased, organization will be happy. If because of increased profit, if the organization is increasing the salary or incentives or other benefits of the employees, ultimately employees will also be happy. So this is what is expected from this syllabus of organizational behavior. And when we talk about outcome based education, it means that during the examination, a student is not supposed to reproduce what he or she has read from textbook or from reference book. But what is expected apart from your theory or your models or your principles, that how a student can apply these models or theories or principles in the actual situation. So, when you will be appearing for your final examination, and if there are offline examination, please note that if there are offline examination, then your paper pattern will be based on these 6 parameters. One question will be based on remembering, one question understanding, then applying, then analyzing, then evaluating and creating. So it may happen that for 2 or 3 questions, you will be given a situation where you have to put yourself in the role of HR manager, or in the role of a trainee manager, or in the role of a executive, and you are expected to implement a program in the organization. So with the help of these questions, the university or the syllabus is trying to find out whether the outcomes are met or not, whether what was intended has been received by the student or not. So not only mugging up the answers and reproducing those answers at the time of examination will not be helpful in case if examination are held offline. If the examinations are online, I need not tell you, every one of you is aware of how online examinations are conducted and how students appear during the online examination. So if online is there, then everything will be objective in nature, MCQ based will be there. But if offline is there, then the questions will be based on these 6 parameters. So if you have any query related to these 6 parameters, please unmute your mic and you can ask your query, or else we will proceed further.
Could you please give an example for how to applying this example for organization behavior? What type of question they will ask? How to apply for analyzing?
Now, for analyzing, they can give you a small caselet. We will be, as and when, this is our first lecture, so that is why we are not discussing directly the case. Now, during our next few lectures, we will be discussing small caselets also related to organizational behavior. That suppose a situation will be given to us, may be given in a case that XYZ is a company, and in this particular company, there is some unrest among the employees, and their efficiency is decreasing. If you are in the position of HR manager, how you will handle this situation? How you will again make the company profitable? At that particular time, if you know the theories or the principles or the frameworks of organizational behavior, that under this situation, this principle is to be applied. If you know that, then you will be able to answer those particular questions in a better manner. So here, very few questions will be asked straight away. Straight away means, what do you understand by the term organizational behavior? Explain 4 goals of organizational behavior. These were the questions which were asked earlier in the offline examination. But now, very few these questions will be asked. Very few means, in all, if 5 questions are asked, 2 questions can be direct question, 3 questions can be indirect question. Among these 3 also, there can be 1 case, and you have to solve that particular case. For solving that case, again, you should be aware of principles, you should be aware of theories of organizational behavior that we will be discussing in our coming lectures. So that we will be discussing. We will be discussing caselets also. Caselets are small cases. Half-page case or 1-page cases are there. What we will be doing is, we will be sending you the caselets 1 day in advance. What is expected is, go through the case very carefully, jot down the important. Will be easier for us when in the lecture to discuss that particular case. We will be explaining how you are supposed to solve a case if it is asked in the question paper. So there can be 1 case study, there can be 2 application-based questions, and there can be 2 direct questions. Right? So that we will be discussing. Anything else? In morning session also, I had requested that it will be better for you, it will be better for us if the session is interactive. If the session is interactive, you will also enjoy, you will learn something, and we will also definitely learn from your side. Because if 100 students are there, and if 100 students are prepared, if they are discussing on a particular point, definitely we will also learn from that particular discussion. So we are very open. We expect more discussions in the sessions. It should not happen that only one person is communicating, only one person is talking. Then that particular, what will be the end result? Again, you might be aware of that. I'll share you a small example. I hope that my voice is clear to all.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. No one was responding, so I thought it should not happen that I'm not audible and there is no response from your side also. Okay, so I'll share you a small example. There was a research conducted by Harvard Business School. Harvard Business School, everyone is aware of. I need not tell you that what Harvard Business School is. And that research was related to learning curve. That in which situation learning is more, learning is better. So they had conducted a research in US and in other parts of the world also, in European countries and particularly in developed countries. So the conclusion of that result was that if you are passive listeners means you are not actually involved in the class, you are not actually involved in the discussion, you are just listening. If such is the mode of teaching, that is one-way communication, then the conclusion was that after 10 minutes, more than 50% what is being taught in the class goes above the head, goes above the brain. So that is more than 50% is not understood by the human brain if the human brain is idle during the session. The end result was, if you want to learn more during the session, during the class, you have to instruct your brain to be more participative. If you are more participative in the session, then only the brain will be alert. Otherwise, what will happen? After 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, the brain will go to sleep mode. Sleep mode means only you are listening that somebody is talking, but the brain is not absorbing that. Why it is not absorbing? Because you have not given the instructions to the brain that the brain has to remain alert for next 1 hour, for next 1.5 hours, for next 2 hours, for next 3 hours. So you can give this instruction only when you are actively involved in the discussion. And so after 10 minutes, only 50% will be received by the brain, rest 50% will not be received by the brain. The shocking effect of the results of that particular research was, after 20 minutes, your brain receives only 5 to 10%, rest 90% of the information during the class is not received by the brain, is not at all received by the brain. And slowly the brain starts going to sleeping mode, or you get boring because of that particular lecture. So if you want to overcome that, then the best option is that you have to participate in the discussion. Now, one more thing, and because of this, 90% or more than 90%, please note, it is more than 90% or at least 90% of the sessions which are conducted at Harvard Business School or which are conducted at IIMs, they are through case study mode. Why through case study modes? Because the student get the opportunity to get actively involved in the cases. During our induction program also, we had invited IIM Ahmedabad faculty, Assistant Professor Khalil sir we had invited, just to share a glimpse of how teaching pedagogy is at IIMs and at other institutes. So he had shared you, I hope that you might have remembered also that most of the teaching is done at IIMs or Harvard or these top-notch B schools with the help of case studies. And case study is given 1 day prior, 1 hour prior, 2 hour prior, or 6 hour prior to the students. It is expected that student will go through it. They will learn the key points, or they will jot down the key points under the case. And next day, after 1 hour, after next day, after 6 hours, whenever the lecture is scheduled, at that particular time, everyone will be actively involved in that particular case. And that is the reason why people learn various things, or the learning curve is better at IIM than at the other colleges. Other colleges means we are, suppose, upcoming college. We are ranked the tier 2 type of colleges. Tier 1 colleges are what? Tier 1 colleges are IIMs or XLRIs or MDPs or that Jamnalal Bajaj, KJ Somaiya. These colleges are called as top institutes, tier 1 institutes. These tier 1 institutes, most of the teaching is done with the help of case studies. Why case studies? Because of the active involvement of students. So that was the example. So let's make our sessions also more interesting, more participative, because you will be able to learn in a better manner if the lectures are more interactive in nature. Otherwise, what will happen? I'll be requesting you for participation 1 time, 2 time, 3 times, or for 1 day, for 2 day, or for 3 day. And next day onwards, what I'll be doing, I'll try to complete my syllabus as early as possible, because it should come from both. If you have paid the fees, we want you to extract as much as from us, whatever we know. We are not showing that I know everything of organizational behavior. Whatever little knowledge I am having, I am ready to share with you, but you should able to extract that from me, right? So that was regarding how we can make our interesting sessions more interesting. Now, before moving further, just let me check, is my language clear to all?
Yes, sir.
Please unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so you are able to understand,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes,
If
sir.
you
Yes,
want,
sir.
Yes,
yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So we had discussed the 5 parameters sorry, 6 parameters that may be asked if the examinations are conducted offline. So you should be aware of that. Now, 5 units are there in organizational behavior. We will have a quick review of what we will be discussing under these 5 units. And tomorrow onwards, we will start with the first unit. So the first unit is fundamentals of organizational behavior. So under the first unit of fundamentals of organizational behavior, we will be discussing the basics of organizational behavior. That is models of organizational behavior, then 5 functions of management. At your UG level, many of the students must have studied these 5 principles of management also, that are planning, organizing, staffing, directing, controlling. So that we will be discussing in fundamentals of OB. Then we will be discussing the models of OB. Then we will be discussing the evolution of organizational behavior, how this subject or course of organizational behavior came into existence, what this course were earlier called, and how this course has evolved from human resource management. That we will be discussing when we will be taking up evolution of organizational behavior. Then we will be discussing the meaning of what is autocratic model of OB, then what is custodial model, what is supportive model, what is collegial model, and what is SOBC model. We will also be discussing in the fundamentals the limitations of OB. We will be discussing what is the meaning of values, what is the meaning of attitude, what is the meaning of emotion. We will be also talking about personality and attitude in the first unit itself. We will be discussing Johari window, and we will be discussing transactional analysis also. Nowadays, these two particular concepts, one is called as Johari window and the other one is transactional analysis. They play a very important role. If you are a manager in the organization, whether you are in a finance department, operations department, HR department, marketing department, or any other department, it is expected that you should be aware of these two particular concepts, which are very much in work in nowadays. So because apart from machines, apart from artificial intelligence, you will be working with human beings. And if you are working with human beings, if you are leading a team, if you are leading an organization, then you should be aware of these concepts, which is called as Johari window and transactional analysis. On 29th of December, that is the second day of our induction program, Dr. Captain C.M. Chitale sir, who is one of the renowned faculty in University of Pune, a very experienced person, he has also insisted that a separate session should be conducted in the organizational behavior lecture on Johari window. So what is the meaning of Johari window? How the concept of Johari window can be implemented in the organization, that definitely we will be discussing in the first session itself. What is the meaning of transactional analysis? How it was started and from which country it came into existence? Who has coined these terms? Johari window or transactional analysis, everything we will be discussing when we will be taking up our first lecture, first unit of fundamentals of organizational behavior. Then the second unit is perception. Under perception, we will be discussing the meaning and concept of perception. What is the meaning of perception? Then the factors which influence our perception. Then what is selective perception, what is attributive perception, what is perceptual perception, what is social perception. So everything under that stereotyping and halo effect we will be discussing. Plus we will also be discussing in second unit motivation. Everyone is aware of these terms. Perception, every one of us is aware of what is perception. What is motivation? But how perception can be implemented, how perception can be changed, how it is applied in the organization, that we are going to learn with the discussions under chapter number 2 or unit number 2. How a person can be motivated. Is it possible that each and every individual employee can be motivated? Or only some people can be motivated? Or is it a situation, or is it a fact that only managers can be motivated, engineers cannot be motivated, or workers cannot be motivated? Or people working in HR department can be motivated, but people working in operations, they cannot be motivated. So how a person can be motivated? Is it possible for a HR manager to motivate each and every employee in the organization? If it is not possible, what are the options available to the HR manager or to the marketing manager or to that particular team leader? That we will be discussing in chapter number 2. So where there we will be discussing various theories, Maslow's need hierarchy theory, Herzberg's two-factor theory, then process theory of Bloom's expectancy theory, then Porter Lawler's theory, then under contemporary theory, we will be talking about equity theory and work motivation. So that is under chapter number 2. Under chapter number 3, we will be discussing about group and team dynamics. That is one of the very important unit where we will be discussing about that how group behavior, how people who are working in a group, how people who are working in a team can change the behavior of other members of the group also. A single person or a leader of the group can how he or she can change or influence the behavior of the other team members. That we will be discussing. We will also be discussing about the types of groups, what these groups are called as. There are basically 2 types of groups. One is called as formal group, the other one is called as informal group. Under formal group, again, there are various groups that we will be discussing. Under informal groups also, there are number of groups that we will be discussing when we will be taking up chapter number 3. We will also be discussing the concept of leadership, where we will be discussing the theories of leadership, the trait and behavior theories we will be discussing. Next one is chapter number 4 or unit number 4, and that is related to conflict management. Conflict, again, every one of us is aware of what is the meaning of conflict. Difference of opinion can be called as conflict. So under that, we will be discussing the meaning of conflict. Can conflict always be negative, or is there any conflict which can be called as positive conflict? If a positive conflict is there, how that positive conflict can change the behavior of a person, or how that positive conflict can improve the efficiency of the person, that we will be discussing under conflict management. So there we will be talking about types of conflict, then conflict management approaches, that how a conflict in the organization can be resolved. That we will be discussing under chapter number 4. Then we will, under chapter number 4, we will also be talking about organizational culture. What should be the culture of the organization, which is considered as the best organizational culture in the world? What are the various types of organization cultures which are prevalent in various industries? That we will be discussing. Plus, we will also be talking about managing cultural diversity. Now, when different people from different cultures are joining an organization, how these people can be kept together in a group, and how these people can be motivated for better efficiency. That we will be discussing under our chapter number 4. Then for chapter number 5. Under chapter number 5, we will be talking about stress. Nowadays, this particular concept again is of utmost importance. Everyone, right from a child to the elder person, everyone talks about stress. I am in a stress. Because of this situation, we are in stress. For the last 2 years, because of that pandemic, Earlier, COVID-19 was there, then it was Delta variant came in, then now it is Omicron. And because of this situation, most of us or all of us are into some or the other type of stress. Everyone is under stress. Child is under stress because he or she cannot go outside, cannot go to the playground and play with the other children. Students, again, they are under stress because everyone is confined to the four walls of a house. You cannot come to the college, you cannot attend the lectures physically, you cannot interact in the class physically with your peers, that is your student friends. You cannot enjoy the canteen life of in the college. So because of that, there is a bit of stress at students also. Again, if we talk about the elder population as we, then again we have to take care of our family, we have to take care of our job. Because of this situation, you might have read in the articles or watched on the TV for the last 2 years, the situation of getting job is becoming day by day, it is becoming worse. There were deductions from the salary. Many of the people, they lost their job because of that lockdown, because of COVID situation. So all this results into stress. So stress is going to be there in our life, but how to handle that stress, that is very important. Every one of us, one day or the other day, or on many occasions, may be under stress because of one or the other reason. So stress has become inseparable part of human being. Everywhere there is stress. So even suppose if you are student, you are not working, but still at the time of examination, you will be under a stress that you want to score more than the other student. Again, at the time of interview, you want to outperform the other person and you want a very good job at the time of interview. So because of these situations, because of competition, you are under stress. So everyone is under stress. So how to overcome that stress, how to handle that stress? Then again, we will be discussing two type of stress. One is called as positive stress, the other one is called as negative stress. So far, whatever we have discussed about negative type of stress. But there are situations where stress is regarded as positive stress, where it is said that some amount of stress is very much essential if you want to motivate a person for better efficiency, better productivity, better quality. So what that positive stress is, that we will be discussing when we will be talking about, when we will be discussing our fifth chapter, that is stress at workplace. So under that, we will be discussing how to prevent or manage stress, then how to balance our work and life, what is work spirituality. Now this is a new concept which has came into existence, which is introduced by psychologists or behavior scientists, they are called as. So they have introduced this concept called spirituality, that is workplace spirituality. So spirituality is mixed with workplace conditions. So it is the combination of two things. One is your workplace, that is the rules and regulations of the organization, and it is clubbed with spirituality. Then at last, during our fifth unit, we will be discussing about the organizational change. What is the meaning of change? How we can implement change in the organization? What are the prerequisites of an effective change? Everything of this sort we will be discussing during our fifth unit. So this was the overview of syllabus. So everything in detail at depth we will be discussing. Only thing required is participation from your side is essential, is must to make the lecture more and more interesting. 5 minutes are still remaining. If you have any query related to the overview of the syllabus, please go ahead. Yes, if any one of you is having any query related to the overview of today's syllabus of organizational behavior, if you have not understood anything, if you have a small query also, please go ahead. We are there
Hello,
to
sir.
solve your query.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
I am Swarna.
yes.
Sir, at the end of each unit, it is in bracket. It is given in first 7 plus 2, second it is 8 plus 2. What it is?
Can anybody explain me what it is? Any one of you, please unmute. Participation should be there. Yes. Any one of you?
Sir, it might be marks.
Might be.
Just not sure, but they are
Go
marks
ahead.
like
Go ahead. Go ahead. Participation
marks.
is essential. Whether right or wrong,
Marks will be
no
there.
worries. No, it is
Uh,
not marks, beta.
Okay.
Anyone? Any other wild guess? Yes. So it is number of lecture expected by the university to be conducted by the teacher who will be teaching this subject. So for first unit, it is expected 7 plus 2. So what they are expecting is in 7 lectures or 7 plus 2, that is 9 lectures, teacher should be able to deliver this syllabus effectively to the students so that the learning outcomes are met. That is what it is expected. Perception 8 plus 2, that is second unit, they have given 8 plus 2, that is 10 lectures. It can be covered, it can be discussed either in 8 lectures or the teacher can take 2 more lectures for explaining this. For conflict management, again 7 plus 2. For stress at workplace, it is 5 plus 2. These are indicative figures, indicative numbers. It depends. Sometimes it may happen that for first unit, we can conduct, say, 10 lecture instead of 9 lectures or 11 lecture or 12 lectures. And we can conduct for second lecture, for second unit, we can conduct, say, 6 or 7 lectures. It depends. These are indicative numbers, indicative figures. It is expected that the chapter should be completed within this duration, but it is not fixed. It is not a rigid kind of thing that you have to complete it, because the ultimate aim should be met. Ultimate aim is what? Whatever learning outcome is mentioned or intended for drafting of this particular syllabus should be met at the end of the syllabus. That is the most important thing which should be kept in mind by the teacher. Yes. Anything else?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody else? Last 1 minute is remaining. We can have one question. Okay, very good. So no question is there. Just from my side, tomorrow onwards, we will be starting with our unit 1 of legal aspects of business, and in the evening session we will be starting unit 1 of organizational behavior. For this week we will not be circulating any cases, but next week onwards we will be starting circulating the cases. Whenever you will be receiving a case, a request from our side is that please go through the case properly, jot down the main important points of the case, so that in the class, in the online session, we can discuss the case and we can solve the case. It will be for your benefit, it will be for our benefit also. Okay, thank you all for attending today's session. So after this session, you will be having a session on verbal communication. So immediately after this session, now it is already 7. So please log into our your next session of verbal communication. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.